What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to Work Knife Balance. I'm excited to be diving into this Vosteed here with you today. Before we get too far into that, I want us to go ahead and say thank you to anybody who's already liked and subscribed to the channel. If you haven't, feel free to hit that subscribe button down below. You can also head over to Instagram and follow us at Work Knife Balance 939. More than anything, that's a great way to communicate with us. And if you send us a knife for review or anything like that, we'll send you back one of the stickers and some swag just to say thank you. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into this knife here. We're going to be taking a look at a pretty sweet Hawkbill from Vosteed. This is the Vosteed Griffin. Came in just a couple days ago on a recent mail call from the Pass Around group. And initially I had not the greatest experience with this. I mean, it's still not, I will say it's still not top of my list for knives that I think are amazing. But there are some really cool things about it. Used it the last couple days to go break through some cardboard that I had here in the garage, and I will say, after having a Hawkbill to break through some cardboard, Hawkbills are probably my favorite knife to break through cardboard. I would say anything with a recurve like that. This thing was fantastic. It just sliced right down. And another cool thing about this is it was a compound grind Hawkbill. You can kind of see where the angles are different right there. So that's kind of a cool thing. I like that. But before we go too far into it, I want to go ahead and do some measurements. We'll go tip to tail, and then we'll do some side-by-side comparisons. So tip to tail, we are looking at about 8 1/4 inch for the overall length. For blade length, we're looking about 3.5 with a cutting edge of right about 3.5 as well. Go ahead and get some comparisons for you. We've got the Devo Mash 2.5, same as the 2, just this has the pivot collar to it as well there. I'll go ahead and do the CVD Cubit up top, give you a smaller comparison, compact comparison with that Cubit. We'll do the Kunwu Chad down below, and we'll go ahead and do the Kaiser Veritas up above. So it gives you a lot of good comparisons too. I would say size comparison, obviously that Kunwu Chad is the closest. This is a full-size knife with that 8 inch, a little over 8 inch in that full size there. So it's a big knife. Not big in sense that it's beefy and thick and massive or anything, but it's a longer knife, I will say that. First off, ergos are really good. They were different because there is such a narrow handle. I wasn't expecting it to feel the way it did. It's almost too narrow though, so I will say that. It is long and slender. And so it makes it so I mean, they're good, but they're not great ergos. I haven't really had a super comfortable grip on this. I did have a pretty good grip when I was cutting through boxes, and I was cutting through with my thumb down like this. I had it really in there and just kind of pushing through the box, which was nice. And that was about it. That was the only comfortable grip. There's nothing that I wasn't able to, and I mean, that's just my hand. Wasn't able to find the most comfortable grip. The detent on this is okay. It's got 4 deployment methods. You've got that reverse flick. You can get in there and thumb flick it out as well. You've got the flipper tab on the back, and then if you want, you can actually front flip the top right here. And I will say 3 of the 4 are great. The front flip isn't the best, but as you can tell, you can kind of pointer finger index front flip that, which shows me that it's a well-designed front flip. It's just not tuned for the front flip. Anytime I can do this, I think it's a really good front flip, because if you can only do it with the kind of Bic front flipper, I don't think it's designed well enough that you can kind of get it from any angle. So that's a personal kind of choice and preference and opinion that I look at. If I can do that top flip like that, then I know it's a really good front flip. It's at least a well-designed front flipper, just not necessarily tuned in for that front flipper. We are sitting on 14C28N steel. Let's see if we can zoom in or kind of focus in on that. You can see it a little bit there. 14C28N steel on that. We do have G10 on the scales and a G10 backspacer on right here. It is a liner lock, not an inset liner lock, a true liner lock in here. You've got good action and good ease and access to that liner lock there. Does come in a couple different colors. My favorite is there's a purple and black variation, which is pretty cool. The purple and black is the one that I would pick up if I was going to be getting one of these. We will go ahead and put links to these down below, so if you see any of the links in their Amazon links, they do support our channel, and we thank you for that. These do come in at about 80 bucks, and honest opinion, for 80 bucks, I'm not going to pick it up. I probably won't. If this was 45, I'd pick it up. But there's a lot of metal they put into this. It's a big blade, so I can understand why it's 80 bucks. It's not my style. It's not anything that like sticks out to me as amazing for 80 bucks. Is the value worth there? Maybe, but I would say 80 bucks is a little bit of a reach for me. Not an expensive knife by any means. 14C28N steel is a nice steel. And if you like Hawkbill knives, then this is probably something you'd really love for 80 bucks. Hawkbills aren't my favorite. It's a little bit, as I mentioned, not the most comfortable in my hand, although it does have good ergos. It never feels like it sets in my hand. It's not uncomfortable, it just doesn't feel like it rests well in my hand. Like I feel like I'm always moving it around, and so that to me is like, okay ergos, good ergos, but not great. It's not something that I'm like, ooh, this is comfortable to hold, and it just kind of, it has a spot. It found its home in my hand. This has not done that. So with all of that, 80 seems a little much for me personally, but like I said, if you like Hawkbills, this may be your jam, and I would say go get it because it's pretty sweet. So yeah, until next time, I don't have much else to say, so I'll leave you at that. Vosti Griffin, and we're out. TTFN.